Welcome everyone to my review of Arkham Horror Final Hour by Fantasy Flight Games. This game came out last year. It's from the makers of the other Arkham Files games based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft, such as Eldritch Horror, Arkham Horror, and Mansions of Madness. This game is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, which you must race around the board, uncovering clues, matching symbols, and like other games, trying to stop the ritual from happening. This game has fans of the series divided. Some people love it, some people hate it. Mainly because it's a very stripped back experience compared to the other games. I played a few games of this myself, and the story elements aren't there at all, and the theme feels like it's sort of not so much tacked on, but I feel like you could take away the Cthulhu theme from this, the Lovecraft theme, and it'd be more like a fun family game. But, however, it does not mean it's not a bad game. Not at all. It's a very fun game. It just feels very different compared to the other games in the series. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. I'm going to show you how I set up a game for a basic solo play, show you how it works, how the game plays, and then at the end of the video give my final thoughts on Arkham Horror Final Hour. Okay, everything's in place, and this is how we play a game of Arkham. Okay, everything's in place, set up for a game of Arkham Horror Final Hour. We have placed the game board down. We've chosen investigators. We've got Ashcan Pete and Jenny Barnes. We've got our appropriate decks for each character nearby. We have a monster cup, which basically the game lid. No monsters we've got inside. We've chosen an ancient one. We've chosen Cthulhu, Sleeper and Riley. I can't say that properly. There's 3 ancient ones in the base game. Each one has a special set of set-aside monsters that you put to the side. So, for instance, here he has 6 deep ones and 3 Starspawn. We have easy, normal difficulty and hard difficulty. Basically, it just tells you how many monsters you're going to spawn. Extra deep ones, extra Starspawn, make it a lot harder for you the more there are. We have a ritual location, which is where we start, which is indicated by a little exclamation mark token. We have 3 gate tokens, 1, 2, and 3. We spawned a deep one at the gate as per the instructions you can see there. It's up there ready. That's each one set up to the side. We have our gate stack down here. So these are all actual gates, and at the end of the round we're going to flip them over. And there's 3 different types of gates. You can see here 1, 2, and 3. We'll place this one over the matching gate symbol up there, and it'll spawn monsters equal to the number of gates. So, for instance, I put that up there, it would spawn 2 monsters from the monster pool. Next up, we have the clues. This is interesting. This is how the game is sort of played, and the main focus of the game and how you win. See down here, we have the little clue track. So you get the clue tokens all together, shuffle them up, and place 2 face down here. Now, these 2 clue tokens are going to have one of these symbols on them. You could have 2 of the same, which is very rare, or 1 of each. And throughout the game, we're going to be investigating locations, flipping clue tokens over. When we get one that is a symbol, we'll place it down here, and it basically reduces our chances of knowing what these are. So I've done this now, and I know that there's probably a slightly less chance of there being a star icon clue token in here. The more you play, the more tokens you investigate. Eventually, you'll be able to think, right, I know what I've got. I'll be able to work out what the last 2 clue tokens are and win the game. That's the rest of the board. I'll explain. There are 15 locations, each one colour coded, so orange, green, and purple. The reason they're colour coded is because some cards will say activate all monsters in the purple zones, in the green zones, and orange zones, so you know where to get to them quickly. They're all based on locations from the Arkham Files series, such as the Alder Faith Seminary, the Warren Observatory, the Science Building, and so forth. This is where the anti-priority cards go, which we'll explain soon. You see here we have little tracks going round. These help us tell where we can move. These also tell us how monsters will move too. See, the monsters are colour-coded from red to blue. If they have to move, they'll follow the blue tracks. If the red ones move, they'll follow the red tracks. Helps you to move the game, makes it a lot easier to know where monster movement is placed. Each location has a set number of slots for monsters. When the location is full, monsters will not spill out, they'll go to the next location and move along. So for instance, if I have a monster spawn here, if I had a blue monster spawn here, it'd move and follow the blue arrow to the next location above it. If however it's a red monster, it follow the red arrow and go down to here. We have 5 starting health per investigator. This is reduced the more investigators you have. This is our first player token, which is obvious what it does really. A collection of item cards, which we can obtain throughout the game, which are really helpful. So up here we have the H1 sheet. On the other side of the H1 sheet, it gives you a list of effects. At the end of the game, when you look at your priority cards, you count a number of triangular symbols and you do an effect based on the symbol. So if we had 1 or 2 symbols, we'd activate each deep one in any order and spawn 2 deep ones at this gate, which is pretty cool. It changes around. Now if we look at the monsters, each monster has different symbols on them. We have an arrow symbol, the sort of mine symbol, and the wrecker symbol. The arrow symbol is the simplest. It makes you move the monster. So any monsters with the arrow activated will move. The sort of mine symbol means it will do damage to investigator. That's at a location. So if I was here, activated, I take 1 damage. And this sort of symbol here, like a sort of house, castle, this will place damage location tokens on the board, which are these little X's up here. So monster damage location, it'll place there. Location is blocked off, eventually push out the monsters. The reason why this is tricky is because of how we lose the game. We basically lose the game by either being defeated, attempt to reverse the ritual, and it backfires and we fail, or if the ritual location is full of monsters and one tries to move into the place, that means that the whole town is overrun and we have failed and hordes of monsters have overrun everywhere and humanity is lost. These are seal tokens. Certain cards let you place seal tokens down. These sort of block walkways, and monsters that move, hit a seal token, flip to its grey side, they're discarded, hit it again, it's discarded again. So you basically get 2 kind of free hits of the seal token, which is really handy to use. And the most interesting thing in this is the priority cards, which are these cards here. Now these cards have numbers and symbols, and occasionally the small arrow-like symbols on the card. Now in a multiplayer game you would out 4 of these and you can choose how to play them. However, in a solo game it's differently, and I'll show you how this works. These basically determine 1, how you play your cards. Each card is split into 2 separate sections, and 2, the Ancient One ritual and how you actually win the game, matching the symbols at the end. So we're almost ready to play, and I'll explain how this works. So in a solo game, take the top 5 cards of your priority deck, like so. You can choose one you wish to. You set 1 to the side. And what setting 1 to the side means is, I want 1 set to the side that are going to match these symbols here. And obviously, early on it's going to be hard. I'm not going to know what the symbol is. It could be anything. So really it's a guess. So let's go for the crescent moon shape. I'll put us to the side next to the ancient one. Then you place the 4 cards in front of you in numerical order. So we'll go lowest, 4, 24, 5, and 7. Is that the way? Next, first player reveals top card of his deck. Has a little name of the card. Each card has 2 effects. Usually, top effect will be damaging monsters, killing things, stealing up locations, and so forth. The second action mostly will be about either investigating or healing or protecting yourself. Where you play this, depending on the numbers, represents which action you're going to take. So you have 4 cards and you'll go twice. When all 4 cards are played up, you're gone. So if I chose this one of the lower numbers, the top side would play first. So I have 4 locations. If I chose one of the 2 lower numbers, that would mean the top part of the card is played first. If I place it at the bottom location, the bottom part of the card is actually first. The reason this is interesting is because you have to sort of be careful what you do, because sometimes fighting monsters and investigating can be different and you don't want to do it. In a multiplayer game, players will pick up a card, play a priority card down with this card on it. So if I play this card in a multiplayer game, 25, thinking 25 is pretty low, I want to investigate, hopefully I'll do this. I put it down, but someone else plays a card 27, it's a high number, their card will trigger first. If no more cards for that slot, I might have to trigger the top part, which I don't want to do. So for a multiplayer game, let's say I want to do the first thing. I want to move up to 1 time and attack monster location for 2 damage. So I'll place it there, and it instantly do the effect of the card. In Arkham Horror File Hour, fighting monsters is a lot easier. you're a killing machine. You can just walk through, slaughter them. You deal 2 damage, and that's it. Some monsters have certain resistance and special effects, but other than that, it's pretty basic. So each monster has a printed health. So I move 1 time, I move along this path, attack for 2. Both of these are defeated. And then it also reads if there are 2 of the symbols on the priority card, you get focus, it would attack with 4 instead. So I would attack for 4, but I didn't need to because they only had 2 health anyway. So now we go on to Jenny Barnes' turn. I'll do the top card of the deck. So I can resolve the following effects in any order. Move and seal a walkway. What you see here, this is a negative effect of the card because Search for Izzy is move 4 times without the same location twice. Each time you land to a location, spawn a monster there. So that effect is quite bad. So in a multiplayer game, or say both those cards taken up, I'd have to do the bottom effect. So sometimes bottom effect can be quite nasty. So the first effect will move and seal the walkway. So we're going to move down here, and we're going to place a seal blocking up this entrance to the ritual location, which is great because ritual location is dangerous. So you put that side down. Back to Ashcan Pete. Throw me a bone. Obviously now there are only 2 cards left on the bottom high number cards, so we're going to have to do the bottom effect of the card. So move up to 1 time and investigate your location. Then activate monsters in purple zones. So he's going to move up to 1 time. Let's move him down. Let's move up here. Now when you investigate, you pick up the clue token and flip it over. As you can see here, we have this sort of 4-leaf clover kind of symbol. Place it down here. If, however, you receive one of the key tokens, you draw a top card of the item deck, and these have cool little effects. Help you defeat monsters, seal walkways, move faster, and gain clues. So that's that down there. Now investigating is very important. You want to get a good balance of investigating locations and fighting monsters. And finally, Jenny Barnes' turn will be this last location. So move up to 1 time, investigate a location, and then monster spawns at each gate. So she will move once, investigate. So I've got one of the symbols, and spawn a monster at each gate. Once the round's over, these cards are discarded. The used priority cards are then counted up, the symbols, so these little triangle eye symbols, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going off the Ancient Ones card, we see 5 to 6, Waking Nightmare, spawn a star spawn at the gate, and then activate 1 star spawn of your choice. So the star spawn are these, at that gate, and then activate a star spawn, so activate a monster means that you follow the symbols the monster has. For instance, this has the 2 Wrecker symbols, which means they'll damage the location twice. Damage the location is dangerous because the more locations are filled with monsters, more locations filled with the damaging icons, the less space to spawn monsters, and the monster's eventually going to move around the board and eventually work their way towards a ritual location. Once that's full, we've lost. So you're going to want to balance investigating and fighting monsters at the same time, which is quite a fun mechanic. I do quite enjoy playing it. After that, we'll spawn a gate. So top token of the gate stack, which is that one up there. So it goes up there. We pick 2 random monsters from our monster cup and place them there. And that's basically the turn order and how the game plays in a nutshell. Well, for solo anyway. Multiplayer is quite similar. You'll just be, rather than dishing out 4 priority cards and assign them, you'll each have 4. And you'll play a priority card down with your card, and in the hopes that you get the number you want. The lower number, top half of the card, the higher number, the bottom half of the card. To win the game, once you play through long enough, and these locations down here, let's just flip them over. Should have gone there, sorry. Let's do this. So let's say we're at this point down here. Find some more star. Get to there. So let's say we are here. Now we know these 2 are not going to be the star icon, so low chance of it being these icons, so possibly could be the crescent moon icon. Every round you're going to get 5 cards, you're going to put 1 down there, and you're going to choose which one you want to be. So let's say we were far into the game, and we're at this point here, and I had more than 5. I have 5 cards. I wouldn't place any of the star ones down because I know the star card's not going to be there. So more likely, going to be one of the other ones. So let's say it's one of these. Once you place the cards down, deducting what they're going to be, when you think you have enough information to guess the ritual, or you run out of priority cards, you have to attempt the ritual. You take these cards here, count the symbols. If there are 3 matching symbols, so from these, so we have crescent moon and the diamond shape. If I had 3 symbols that matched, the game is won. In multiplayer, it's a little bit different. Investigators, once they all agree to commit to attempt the ritual, they'll pick 3 from their hand randomly, place them down. If the number of matching cards equals or exceeds twice the number of investigators, the ritual's been reversed, investigators win. If it fails, you've instantly lost. And this is basically Arkham Horror Final Hour as a quick review. So that's it for the Arkham Horror review. Now to summarise, I'm going to break it down to categories. First of all, setup time and length of game. Setup time for this is really fast, about 5 or 10 minutes. It's really simple, really easy. You can pick it up and put it away really fast. Length of the game is probably about 30 minutes to 40, depending on the number of players. I say 30 for solo, up to an hour for 4 players, which is kind of good. It's because you don't want to play it for too long. This game is meant to be played in short bursts, much like, I say, Aldersign, that kind of time frame. Next up is complexity. Is the game easy to learn? Is it really easy to get into? Yes, it is very easy. It's really simple. The rules are pretty basic. There's not many pages to the booklet. If you play any of the games, you'll find it's a walk in the park. It's really easy. I think even fans of just board games who weren't much for this kind of theme would enjoy playing this anyway, because it's just about fighting monsters and trying to match up blue tokens. So when you look at it like that, all people can enjoy this. It's really simple, so that's pretty good. But also, if you're one of the die-hard fans who loves that in-depth gameplay of the whole Lovecraft games, the mythos phase, the effects on the mind, the constant struggle, you're not going to find that so much here. Of course, it is difficult sometimes, but it's nowhere near difficult as much as the Madness or Arkham Horror. Next up is the Thematics, the theme. How well does it integrate the theme of H.P. Lovecraft? I'm going to say not very well. This is one of the big downers for this game. It feels like this is a sort of kind of family-friendly blue matching game with Lovecraft-style Cthulhu thing just splattered over it just for drawing the fans. It's not a bad thing. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. It's not bad. I just don't feel like it integrates the theme that well. It doesn't really like it feels like it. It doesn't feel like the other games. It feels very different. The clues are there, the mythos, the effects, the character names, the clues, the ritual tokens and stuff, but the whole idea of investigating and being sort of life or death, trying to save the world, it doesn't feel that much here. It feels like you're just doing a puzzle game, which in the works of a Lovecraft game, you don't want to feel like that. You want to feel like you're constantly under threat, you're trying to save the world, your reality is shattering around you, and you don't get that in this game, unfortunately. And lastly, it's replayability. Now, this is one thing I'm not sure I really like. You only get 3 ancient ones and I think 6 investigators, which isn't a lot really. I would have done for a few more of each, maybe 10 investigators, maybe 5 ancient ones. There's like easy, normal, and hard difficulty, so there's a bit of variation. And the investigators do play slightly differently, but it's not enough for me to want to keep playing and find strength and weaknesses of the decks, because ultimately most of the cards are quite similar. I could have done with a few extra things. I mean, I think you could have done some more stuff like the Mythos cards, you could have done some effects, endgame effects, changing the board up a little bit, discarding cards from your hand, just little effects that could have done, made the game a lot harder, lose health. Could have done with health and sanity. You only get health in this, not sanity, so it is a lot simpler, that's all gone. So, unfortunately, it loses a few points there. I mean, it's not so much that you're going to play one game and put it away. I mean, because it's so fast to set up, and it's different, and you can just sort of play with friends, have a laugh, it's not that involved. It's much more light-hearted take on the Lovecraft franchise. But to conclude, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. Talking a 6 and a 7. I guess it's got a soft spot for the Arkham Horror games, unfortunately. So I'm going to give it a 7. I think die-hard fans of the Arkham Horror games who want to add this to the collection should definitely do so. It's definitely worth playing, because it's just something different, something quick. With Manchester Madness, you can need a good hour or two. Of this, it's just half an hour. It's a very fast game. Like Aldersign, it doesn't have the strong theme elements. It's just a sort of fast puzzle kind of game to set up with friends. But if you're one of the fans who is really into the investigating, the mythos effects, the mysteries, the puzzle elements of trying to work out what the ancient one is, where it's going to be, avoiding monsters rather than fighting, trying to play items, that's not going to be here. So if you've got a big Lovecraft hole in your heart and you want to fill it with something, this might not cut it. In that case, I say buy a expansion pack for Manchester Madness, buy a Mythos pack for Arkham Horror, buy Elder Sign, one of the packs for them, anything else instead. But overall, it's still a fun game, and I recommend playing it if you're a fan of this. Even if you're not, you're still going to enjoy it. And that's it for this review. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. If you have this game, what do you think of it? Should we release more packs for this in the future? Or is it just a dud and it's not worth getting? Let me know in the comments. That's it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.